So hi everyone, this is Jiggie, a portrait and wedding photographer from the Philippines, and welcome to the channel. So in today's video, I will be talking about my bare lighting essentials. This is basically to answer a lot of your questions on what I take around whenever I am shooting or what I cannot live without. So basically what's inside this case are the things that I cannot live without. It may not be the best of all the lighting modifiers or the lighting systems that you may have out there, but again, whatever I have in here are the things that are very essential to me that I can create all the images I need to with just what's inside this one. So the case, of course, if you guys want to talk about it, the case that I use is a hard case from Raptor. This is a Carry Extreme case. This is an Air 6000, and as the name depicts, it's an Air series. In other, it's very light, but it is airtight, and at the same time, I think this is crush proof also, though I've never really tried. So what's inside my case? Let me see. Very simply, these are just my bare essentials. This is what I really need whenever I am shooting. So let's put this to the side and let's go through all these things one by one. So of course, the flash unit. So I have 1, 2, 3, and 4 flash units. Now you might ask me, why do I have so many flash units? Well, they serve a different purpose. So these are the Sony f60RMs. This is what I use for off-camera flash photography. These two now, the Sony f45RM, are what I use whenever I am shooting events and I need a flash on camera. Why is that? Because it is a lot lighter. And number 2, more often than not, whenever I have to have a flash indoor on camera, it's normally during the time that I don't really need too much power, so the f45 is perfect. So let's talk about this basic system first. You guys might have noticed that I have the stand here on the f45RM. Now the reason why I have it here, as I said, anything that's in here are the things that I can create beautiful images. Well, in my personal point of view, it's how I create my images. So in order for this flash units to be effective, I need to find a way to mount it either on a light stand or something like this. This is basically just a light pole or something like that, because one of the reasons why I love using speed lights whenever I am shooting, it doesn't attract too much attention. So you guys might be saying, okay, so with this, you probably saw what's already in here and you don't see, or you notice that there's a lack of a big modifier. Well, as I said earlier, these are my bare essentials. Whenever I am shooting, of course, I do have my big modifiers. But if in any case that I do forget any of those things, everything that's in my bag here can create soft light, it can create hard light, it can create directional, or it could do so many things for me. That's why all of these things here allows me to create whatever it is that I need. The others are just making things easier. So these are my bare essentials. So where was I? Okay. So I have this one here. This is basically just your stand that comes with almost any flash unit. And a lot of you guys may not even bring it out because you think it's actually pointless. But you know, there's a screw here in the back that actually screws to your light stand. Now, having it like this, and let's say having your f60RM mounted on it, it's actually a sturdy way to bring your flash around. And the nice thing about this one is that it's good for run and go shoot. In other words, there are times that whenever you're shooting, you're actually not allowed to use off-camera flash, or you might not be allowed to use a light stand for one reason or another, but they normally allow lights that are handheld. So it's good, especially if you have an assistant, and your assistant can just bring this around. It's very light and it can be pointed to any direction that you want. So if you want the light going down, so you point it going down. If you want it going up, then you point it going up. So with the lack of it, this is basically your very basic off-camera kit. So from here, I can do whatever it is that I already need. So this thing, you don't need to buy anything because this one comes with most flash units anyway. Okay. So of course, for me to be able to control all these flash units off camera, I have here the Sony WRC1M. This is my remote commander that controls all of these flash units wirelessly. So you guys, if you guys are familiar with the channel, you know how I use this WRC1M. If you guys are not familiar with the channel, feel free to check out most of my instructional videos. You'll see the things that I actually shoot with or how I use this particular flash unit. All right. Next, of course, you've got your batteries. Now, my batteries of choice are the Eneloop Pros. These are the black ones because they're very, very efficient. They give proper power in terms of very consistent power. The only downside is, of course, it runs out of battery faster. So my suggestion is always have 2 per flash unit, 2 sets. So I have 8 batteries for this, 8 batteries for this, 8 for this, and 8 for this. And another rule of thumb, or another piece of advice, these batteries don't really last too long, meaning they've got a lifespan of about maybe 2 years, 3 years, depending on how much you use them. And after that, they lose a bit of consistency. So what I do is I normally write the date of purchase in each one so that if I know that it's about 3 years old, then maybe I could just leave this in the house and use it, let's say, to power some remote controls. So of course, you've got your batteries there. Now, I showed you earlier this one as your basic makeshift way to mount your flash to a tripod or a light stick. Of course, there are better options like this one. I have 2 of these. These are called the MagMod Mag Shoes because this one you could mount directly to a light stand. So if you don't have an assistant, you know, the stick that I showed you earlier is really dependent on somebody holding it for you. But if you don't have someone holding it for you, you normally have to put it on a light stand. And this one mounts directly on your light stand like so. Here, like that. It mounts on your light stand too. And it's got a basic cold shoe here that allows you to mount your flash. And it is very sturdy. Now, the beautiful thing about this one is that now you could tilt your flash to the direction that you want without having to move your light stand because, again, you don't have an assistant to hold on to the light for you. But even if you have an assistant without a light stick or a light stand, you can see how I'm holding it. It's very easy to just do this. Now, it also comes with an umbrella holder, so I can put in an umbrella if I want to. But again, bare essentials. So these are my bare essentials. So I have this one. So I have 2 of those. Now comes the modifier. I have the MagMod system in my bag too. The reason why I love my MagMod system is that it fits in my bag. It's not too big, it's not cumbersome to bring around. And again, with this one, it may not create the softest light, but if you know how to use it, you can create beautiful soft light. So my main one, my favorite is this one, the MagMod Mag Spear with a Mag Grid and a Mag Gel. Now, again, for you guys who are familiar with the channel, let's start off with the Mag Gel. The reason why I always have a CTO gel is because I always want to match the color of my flash to that of the existing ambient light. So if I decide to shoot at night where the colors are warmer, I normally slap on a CTO gel for me to match the color of this flash unit to my existing ambient light. Now, the Mag Spear, contrary to popular belief, does not make your light softer. However, it spreads your light evenly, giving that look of softer light, but it's not really soft. But it's enough, especially if you're shooting wide angle shots outdoor and you just want to focus the light. And that's why I also have the Mag Grid here. Well, focus the light and spread out the light without any hot spots because this one really removes it. And it's also good for events photography. But that's also why I have this one, the Mag Grid, because if I slap on the Mag Grid here, it focuses the light at the same time it still removes the hot spot. So I love it. I can stack all those things together, and with the Mag Grip here, all you have to do is mount it on your flash this way and we're good to go. So there. So that's one of my MagMod kit. Oh, by the way, I also have here an ND filter. A set of ND filters. I have an ND32 and an ND8. Now, I also have step-up rings here so that it fits in any lens. The reason why I have it here as a backup, because my main ND filters is a very ND, which is in my camera bag. But just in case something happens to that, again, it's here. Now, why is it a part of my essential kit? Because these flash units are not powerful enough to overpower the sun, especially if I want to shoot wide open. In other words, if I shoot wide open, I most likely will have to go on high-speed sync, which these flash units are capable of. But there is a limit to how fast you can do, or you can go with your shutter speed, or how wide open you can be depending on your existing ambient light. Again, when you go on high speed sync, rule of thumb, you lose about 60%, 70% of your power. So in order for me to maximize the power of this flash, I would rather shoot with ND filters to cut the light so that I can stay within my flash sync speed and therefore still shoot wide open and still use this particular flash unit. So I've done a lot of demos already in my channel, or in some of the videos in this channel if you want to see how that one works. Okay, so what else do I have here? Well, this one first. Okay, these are other light modifiers from MagMod. Again, there's so many things that I can put here. This one is the Mag Snoot, so it allows me to focus the light even more. Creative tools, Mag Snoot. Then of course you've got your Mag Mask. The Mag Mask serves like a gobo so that you can create patterns. Lovely, lovely tool for creatives. Then you have here other gobos, other designs, plus a bunch of different colored gels, creative gels, in case that I do want to get creative. So it's just all here in the bag. Then finally, you guys may be saying, again, this is not going to give you soft light. Yeah, it won't give you soft light, definitely. But this one might. This one is called the Mag Bounce. The Mag Bounce, the difference of this one is that it replicates the look of a small umbrella. So if I have it really close to my subject, it will give me relatively soft light because of the way the light is spread around. However, it matters to know what your equipment can do. I won't say that this one will give me the softest light compared to, let's say, 150 cm Octabank. However, what's important, as I said earlier, is these are the things that I will need to be able to create images that I want. Now, if I really just want to create ultra soft light, then my other modifiers are there. But just in case I forget them, all you have to do is understand how light works. Like, you could bounce a light off a wall to create beautiful soft light. Of course, there will be limitations to that, but as photographers, we will always have to solve problems. That's why we are always faced with problems. That's why we are problem solvers. So every particular lighting situation should actually have a particular solution to it. And for me, whatever it is that I have in this kit helps me solve most of those problems. Now, last but not the least, is I have the mother of all lighting mounts. This is called the Photic Cerberus. It basically works the same way as this stand, because it allows you to mount it on a light stand this way, right? It's got a manual tilting adjustment. You just have to adjust this one. It can tilt up and down. It's also got an umbrella holder, so that's basically the mag shoe. The only difference with this one is that it's got an attachment here that allows you to mount any Bowens type modifier and make your light source bigger. In other words, this one will allow you to modify your light and use all the light modifiers that are available so long as they are Bowens mount. And of course, you mount your flash here in the back. Very, very sturdy, very, very strong. So I have a couple of this inside my bag just to make sure that these two F60RMs can be modified if I need to modify this. The two F45RMs usually work well with my MagMod, especially with events photography. But again, everything that's inside this kit are my bare essentials. In other words, well, it's just a redundant in terms of the quantity, but I can do with one flash, one mount like this, and maybe one modifier, the MagMod, or this one, the MagSpear. I can create, if you, again, I might put a link in the description below on some of the things or some of the tutorials that I did using that particular setup. So in any case that I forget my modifiers, even if I forget my light stand, I can always ask someone to hold this for me so that that person becomes a human light stand. But everything that I need to do is inside this bag. Okay? So if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And I do hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, subscribe to the channel. And while you're at it, click that notification bell. And at the same time, please do like the video. And if you want to learn more about off-camera flash photography, again, there are a lot of videos already up in the channel. And if you want to see more of my images or the images that I've created with this equipment, you could also find me on Instagram. It's at Jiggie Alejandrino. Okay, till the next video.